We were in a high-speed car chase after egging a dude's house. This is our junior year of high school. It all started at a soccer game. Me and 4 of my good friends, not going to use real names, so we'll call them Lenny, Griff, Beef, and 7-5. We go to this regional Final Four soccer game on Saturday. If you win region, you go to state. You get a chance to go to the state tournament and play. So we're in the Final Four of our region, and we're playing like a crosstown rival high school. Our schools are always pretty rowdy, had like a student section and stuff. During the game, the goalie is talking shit to our student section, flicking us off. Like, obviously, it's like, you know, all fun banter during the game. But then after the game, we ended up losing. We were pretty pissed. And then his school, him specifically, is tweeting out, you know, a lot of shit, just kind of like really drug it on. It's like, dude, it was a good game. Like, just, you know, let it go. You beat us already. As this builds and builds and builds, the 4 of us are kind of like, okay, this kid's still talking shit. Like, we should fuck with this kid. And the soccer players who had gotten beaten by him were at school like, yeah, you guys should go fuck with his house. We're like, yeah, we'll do that. The whole week leading up to their regional championship game, we were looking up where this kid lived. My buddy changed his bio to the name of the high school that this kid went to, and we were able to find where the goalie lived because of where he was posting all of his photos. So we wait all week. I mean, we literally like map it out. We had like a Google map photocopy of where his house was located, and we did like a scouting on a Thursday. I think it was a Thursday. I drove over after school, and we figured out exactly like where he lived, because he lived in these townhomes, like the split level townhomes. So if we were going to go mess with it, we only wanted to mess with the one side that he specifically lived in. Me and my buddies have this whole plan, and we're going to take Lenny's trap van. It was this white Toyota Sienna, like 2001 minivan. The Toyota Sienna. We called it a trap van because Lenny had a paper route, so the back seats were always folded down, so we could pile in like way more people than should ever be able to fit in that van. We take Lenny's trap van. It's a Friday night. Lenny and I meet up beforehand, and you know, this is big now, right? Because our whole high school is like quietly behind us. Like, can you please go get this job done? Like, please go do this. So we're like even more jacked up about messing with this kid's house, and it became this way bigger thing than it actually was. Before we meet up with the other 3, I meet up with Lenny. So Lenny and I go into Kroger. We buy eggs, like 40 eggs, quick dry chocolate syrup, toilet paper, saran wrap. We're ready to go. Like, we were ready to end this kid's career. We go, and again, this is Friday night, the night before his big soccer game. We go to Beef's house because Beef lived close, and at the time, the only person who could drive in the group was Lenny. He was the oldest, and he happened to have the trap van. We tell Beef's mom the 5 of us are going to go watch a movie, and we have all of our equipment to go mess with this kid's house in there. We go to the townhouse, egg the shit out of it, and at the end of it, we sprayed quick dry chocolate syrup all over the kid's car and all over like this like stitched family lettering in his front yard, like one of those like stick in the ground things. And we take off. Well, we thought a car was following us, so we waited. We also had a bag of flour. I forgot to mention that. We bought a bag of flour. So we did a quick hit on this kid's townhouse. And again, we really just specifically did his one side of it. And when we left, we thought a car was following us. So we cut into this other neighborhood across the street that we had messed with in the past, because it was like one of the biggest neighborhoods in the area, like huge, like thousands of houses. So we cut into there, and we're driving around, and I start like kind of looking through all the stuff. And I'm like, oh, damn, guys, like we still have a ton of shit in here. Why don't we just fuck with another house? And everyone was like, oh, yeah, let's definitely do it. But see, our thing, when we would go mess with houses, we always looked at it like, okay, there's justification in doing it. Like, we're not just going to go fuck with somebody who we don't know who they are, like, for no reason. We're not just going to go mess with an innocent person. Because, like, if we ever mess with, like, an old couple or something like that, we would feel really bad. So we go, and we would always scout and figure out exactly who we were going to fuck with ahead of time. Because if you're a douche and people can confirm you're a douche, we're going to fuck with your house because we're dickheads. We're high schoolers. That's what we do. And again, we didn't drink on the weekends growing up in high school, so our fun was to go out and do shit like this. So we go into this neighborhood. We're driving around looking for a place to, like, you know, fuck with a house. And we see this kid walking. And we're in this sketchy-ass trap van, the Toyota van. And I'm looking, and I'm like, I think I know that fucking kid. I swing the door open while we're driving. I'm like, hey. And the kid freezes. And I'm like, Timothy? And he's like, Thomas? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what's up, man? I'm like, nothing. We're trying to fuck with the kids. We're trying to fuck with someone's house. who's the biggest douchebag in your neighborhood? And he real casually thinks about it for a second. He goes, that guy right there is a douchebag. I'm like, got it. So we whip around. So we're on like the main drag of this neighborhood. Right, his house is right on the corner, and there's a side street where someone's clearly having like a house party or a large gathering. So there's all kinds of cars parallel parked on the street. So we park Lenny's trap van, like kind of try to blend in, and we casually get up. We've got saran wrap, we've got flour, we've got the rest of our quick dry syrup, toilet paper, and we run up on this dude's house. And they've got like 4 cars in the driveway, and we just start messing with this dude's house. So we are in the driveway at first, saran wrapping his cars. We're saran wrapping this dude's cars. We're putting maple syrup and chocolate syrup all over these cars. My buddy Griff runs to the front, and he's chucking toilet paper up in the dude's trees, and we're laughing like a bunch of idiots. Well, here comes 7-5. 7-5's a little late to the party, and he's running, and I see 7-5 running. He's cocked to the side like this because he's holding the bag of flour, and I see it coming. I'm like, oh, no. 7-5 has no clue that we have put syrup all over these cars. So 7-5 comes flying with a bag of flour, boom, and it just sticks all over, like on this dude's car. And we're laughing like idiots. And then 7-5 was odd one that night because 7-5's like, I want to take a shit on this dude's driveway. And we're like, yeah. And here, we're horrible friends in the moment, right? We're like, yeah, shit on his driveway. So we're laughing like a bunch of idiots, like giggling under our breath, trying to be quiet. Griff comes running back after TPing the dude's front yard trees, and he sees 7-5 with his ass out about to take a shit on the driveway, and he starts laughing. So we're all laughing, and then we hear this, and I should lead with this. My buddy Griff always did these imitations of voices, like, you're going to learn today, like Kevin Hart or whoever. He would always do voice imitations. So I hear this voice that sounds nothing like any of my friends. Yeah, get him. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? And he says it again. Get those fuckers. I turn and I say, shut the fuck up, Griff, because I thought it was Griff. And when I turn around, there's this grown-ass dude who's like 6'4", 6'5", standing there staring at me. And I'm just like, run. So we all take off. Now, again, now that I've mentioned this, me, Griff, Lenny, 7-5 were messing with the house. Beef was tired, so he didn't feel like running up and messing with the second house. He was tired after the goalie's house. So Beef is sitting in the van in the driver's seat. Mind you, the only person with their license is Lenny. And we had left all of our phones in the car because we were scared if something happening that we would be able to be identified by our cell phones, because that's just how we thought. So we left all of our phones and our wallets in the car because we were scared to be identified if we ever got caught during these, little vandalism tours. So we are sprinting back, and we're laughing because we're like, it's some old dude. He ain't going to be able to, it's some dad. He's not going to be able to catch us. So we're running back, and we're like, Eddie can't get in his car because we saran wrapped and syruped everything. He just runs straight across the street, beelines to this big white truck, jumps in, cranks it on. So I'm like, fuck. So me and Lenny quick dive into the van. Griff and 7-5 go running past the van. We're like, fuck. This dude's turning his truck around. We slam the door shut. And he's getting in his truck. He's about to come after us. And we get in and we're like screaming at Beef, drive. Because he's sitting in the driver's seat. And he's like, I don't have my license. I can't drive. Lenny, who is a pretty quiet dude, Lenny grabs him by his shirt, like gets right in his face and just screams, you better fucking put this bitch in drive. He's after us. And so Beef puts the car in drive, whips it around, drives down this side street. And as the truck's coming after us, he whips into this cul-de-sac, and we're like, fuck, dude, you picked a dead-end road. Like, we're fucked. Beef turns around real quick, parks the car, and we cut the lights, and we all just ducked because he didn't see what car we got in. He just saw us run towards the line of all the parked cars. So this truck, now mind you, we still don't know where the fuck Griffin 7-5 went, because we're like, why the fuck would you run past the car? Like, dumbest thing. Me and Beef still talk about it to this day. Like, why the fuck would you go run past our getaway vehicle with no wallet, no phone? We have no way of contacting you, and you ran away. So we were pretty irritated about that at the time. But we're so panicked about this guy being after us, we weren't really, not on the top of our priority list. So we parked the car. Me and Lenny are down in the back seat of the van. Beef is in the driver's seat all hunched down like this because we're hiding because the dude is looping through the cul-de-sac, but he doesn't know what car we took off in, right? So he's looking for us. We know he's after us. We're waiting. He drives past our car real slow, which again, we're in a line of cars because this party had like parked cars all the way down this L street. So Lenny, after the car passes, Lenny's like, switch. So they go Chinese fire drill, crawl over each other. Me and Beef are now in the back seat, and Lenny's in the front ready to take off. So we drive back out. Now, again, we're on the main drag now. The truck has gone the opposite direction. So we go back right back towards the guy's house because we don't know where Griff and 7-5 would be. So I'm like, slide the back door open, and I'm like whisper yelling because I don't want to like scream their names out. So I'm screaming, Griff 7-5, Griff 7-5. Like, oh, fuck, where are these fuckers at, right? They pop their heads out of these bushes across the road from the house we messed with. They were like, come on, get in. So Lenny whips into a driveway, okay? And 7-5 and Griff get in, and we're kind of laughing like, dude, that was awesome. We got that fucker. Like, he's so pissed. As Lenny shuts the door, this headlights come flying back. And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, that's the truck. I'm like, Lenny, if you don't get us out of this driveway, he's going to box us in and we're getting caught. And he's like, the fuck he is. Lenny throws the van in reverse, whips out, throws that bitch down and drive, and we take off. So now we are being chased by this dude. And again, he's in like this big white Tundra. It's a nice truck. We're in the 2001 trap van, but we're scooting. Lenny cuts the lights so he can't see the license plate number, and we're taking off. Now, again, it's a neighborhood, but it's late at night. It's like 12:30 at night. Lenny's blowing through stop signs, but he's got his lights on so you can see if there's anyone coming. But Lenny's blowing through stop signs, going with like 50 miles an hour through this neighborhood. And he's in the back, this guy chasing us. He's trying to be like somewhat safe about it, but we're desperate to get out of the situation because we're like, if we get caught, we are fucked because they're going to have a whole paper trail of us not only messing with his house, but messing with the goalie's house earlier this night. So we were scooting. So Lenny is flying. You see the headlights kind of coming up, and every time he'd get to a stop sign, he would slow down a little bit. So that was giving Lenny an opportunity to kind of make a run for it. We get out onto like this 2-lane highway. Finally, Lenny whips our van out there so hard, like skirts the tires a little bit. We take off down this bootleg road, and we see the headlights at the top of the street slowly come out and turn the opposite direction. So we ended up getting away, but it was the funniest thing I've ever experienced because not only is it one of those things where you're like, the whole situation at the time, I don't know why I found it so funny, but it's like one of those things where you're laughing the whole time about the situation that's taking place, but at the same time, it's like your adrenaline's kicking in, you're freaking the fuck out, but you can't stop laughing at everything that happened. We could have easily gotten away, no problem. Like we would have never seen that man even come close to us if my two buddies would have just jumped in the getaway vehicle. And I love that out of all of our friends, Beef just decided to be lazy and not partake in messing with somebody's house because he was tired. And that put him in the situation where he had to drive the van even though he didn't have his license. Lenny gets in and just takes over, dude. Hands at the wheel. The greatest getaway driver in Kentucky, in the state of Kentucky, maybe even in the United States, is Lenny. I can't say his real name on here. I can't do him justice like that. But, you know, to the 4 friends who were involved with that with me, thank you for that memory. And I think the greatest part about it, I almost forgot, we go to school on Monday and tell them what happened, and the kids were dying. We kind of became like folk legends because of it. So, because we ran cross country and no one ever suspected the cross country kids to be up to anything, you know, noteworthy. But that kind of became our thing, was every week before a big rivalry game coming up, they would come to us, or any big sporting event. I mean, everything from tennis to basketball, football. Anytime we had a big rivalry game coming up, the night before the big game, somebody would come to us and be like, this is the kid we need you to mess with. So we'd go mess with their house right before our big crosstown rivalry games. Any sport, we would do it any time of the year. And it kind of is how we made a name for ourselves junior and senior year. So everybody knew the cross-country kids as the Vandals, not as a cross-country team. So good story, good times. Talks with Tom. I was riding around town thinking to myself, is it gonna get easier? I'll be up and away up the street and big, but I can't even breathe no more. What's it to me? What can I see? Taking shots by the lake till I can't even breathe. we called it the trap van because great